Hello, welcome to LinkedIn Live, all about ABM. And we're talking about personalizing that ABM this morning. The inspiration came from a report by Demandbase, came out just this year, saying that a mighty 82% of marketers have integrated ABM into their strategy this year. That's an incredible increase that we're seeing of the ABM approach. And yet Demandbase was saying that 25% of sales teams don't really feel fully equipped to be able to execute on an ABM strategy effectively. I wonder if you're listening live, please add in the comments, are you adding ABM into your approach? Is this something that you've done for quite some time, or is this quite new to you this year? Do you think that you're already adding that sort of personal touch? Is that something that is really key to your ABM approach? And the comments take a little bit of time to come through, but as we go, do let me know any questions. If you want me to dig in a little bit deeper into any of the things that we're talking about this morning, I'm very happy to stop and go through those questions because we're going to really whiz through all of this in about 15 minutes. And so we should be done by about 8:15 this morning, and then you can get on with your day. All right, so let's just take a step back at account-based marketing, just to make sure that we're all on the same page with this. It's about selecting your high value accounts, the accounts that you know have a potential to deliver a lot of revenue into your business. And then it's about marketing and sales working together really closely on the same accounts, understanding who are the key roles, decision makers, what is the value proposition from your business to them, and then making sure that they're seeing those messages through a multi-channel approach. And that might be email, direct mail, and so on. Now, when we think about LinkedIn, and this is what we're really talking about today, is there's a traditional view of ABM on LinkedIn is about targeted advertising, taking those job roles, making sure that that advert gets in front of the right people. Now, I am a fan of this. I think that this is a good way to go. But I also wanted to talk today about profile-based marketing on LinkedIn because we've got the organic activity of all of the people on LinkedIn that is very much sometimes sort of overlooked when it comes to an ABM strategy. And of course, we know that brand pages, corporate pages are really important on LinkedIn for your credibility, but it's a kind of people first platform. And so people are building relationships one by one on LinkedIn. And so the very first step of a profile-based marketing strategy as part of your ABM would be to just look at the personal profiles that are going out on behalf of your company. Are they really demonstrating the subject matter expertise? But more importantly, are they talking about the value proposition that is relevant for the people that they're connecting to at that time? So just taking a step back, step one would be look at the individuals and just making sure that that common ground and relevant value proposition is really clear on their profile. And then the next thing to look at in terms of the relationships is how and where are they connected in with your target account. Let's just for a moment talk about the target account. I've read another report by Momentum ITSMA last year about people that are doing ABM successfully versus those that aren't doing ABM quite as successfully. And one of the key things is to look at it not just as a prospecting tool, that when you use ABM for retention or maybe existing client growth, when it's more varied, then you're much more likely to be successful with your ABM. But I know a lot of people are really using ABM to target companies that they're not in with at all at the moment. And the technique of understanding how you can really get those early pathways into that account is the way forward. It's very natural for salespeople to be thinking of, these are going to be my key decision makers at this account. Let me go and get connected to them. And the challenge with that is that salespeople are very often, if you look at it across the industry, they're often getting something as low as just 10% of those people accepting the connection. Then they can't really build that relationship on LinkedIn at all. So a key thing to be thinking about is, how can you get connected to that account in a strategic way that means that the people that would ultimately buy from you are going to get connected. And I think that the secret lies within more of your colleagues. So this diagram here represents, say you've got 6 colleagues, and those 6 colleagues are trying to connect to that one account. Maybe colleague 1 has an ex-colleague at that account that they're not connected to, so they can get connected to that person. Perhaps colleague 2 has a job role that is the same as your typical final decision maker, your buyer. So perhaps get say if you're selling a technology solution, get your CTO to connect to the CTO. They're much more likely to connect to peers. Perhaps you have a subject matter expert. Maybe you're selling some services to do with AI, and you've got your AI expert. They could be connecting to others that they've been on an AI group with, or an event, and being able to identify those people within the target account, regardless of whether they're your buying group or not, will help you to land into that account. Now, why is this important? It's about the second degree and third degree connections in those accounts. We've done some research, and we've done this across a lot of data. And so we know that second degree connections will connect more readily than second and third degree connections. In fact, if you take a group of second and third degree, a mixed group, versus second degree only, the second degree only will show a 14% higher chance of connecting, which is huge when it comes to getting connected in the first place. Because if you don't get connected, they won't see your posts, and you can't have that ongoing organic peer-to-peer conversation in the inbox. So that's why this is really important, to be sort of slowly and strategically connecting into that account. I would say one of the key tools for executing profile-based marketing approach is Sales Navigator. Now, rather than dig into the pros and cons of Sales Navigator in this LinkedIn Live, my next LinkedIn Live is about, can you do that on the free linkedin.com, or is Sales Navigator really worth it? And that's on Tuesday, the 4th of March, and it's going to be an afternoon, 5 o'clock GMT LinkedIn Live. If you would like to be sent that link, just drop me a comment, and we'll make sure that when that goes live, that comes over to you and you can attend. So what we've got on this screenshot is the homepage of Sales Navigator. If I'm targeting a account, I'm going to make a lead list that is just of the people that I want to be connecting to at that account. And when that person posts, on the day, or maybe just on the same week at least, you're able to then engage with that post. That gives you a conversation start. You could go into the inbox as well. So I would absolutely be recommending a lead nurturing approach as part of your profile-based marketing, because that as well helps to get your connection accepted, and it helps to keep you front of mind as well. So the Sales Navigator homepage, not the only way you can do it, but that is a really good way to track the people in the account. The other thing that Sales Navigator helps with is cross-connecting. So I've got a lead list of, at the top there, I've got my HSBC list. They're the people that I'm aiming to get connected to, and they're the people that I'm nurturing. Now, I can also create a list of my first degree connections at HSBC and then share that with a colleague. So if you have a Sales Navigator account, there is a value in getting the advanced version of it, so that colleagues can share lists with colleagues, because that will help that cross-connecting approach work that I mentioned before. So this screenshot shows that I've got HSBC as my current company, and then I've got a little filter that says Team Link Connections, and you probably can't see it, but on the top right, it says 266 connections. That means that there are, across me and my colleagues, 266 first-degree connections with that company. Now, if we've got our senior execs connected, our subject matter experts, and you've got 266 people that have seen your brand via personal profiles, I would consider that that company is at a critical mass of awareness. And also, we know which people at that company are more likely to engage on LinkedIn because they've already accepted a connection from us. We've been nurturing those leads. So I would say it's time to let that lead list go to your sales execs or your SDR team. The SDR team then have a list of leads that not only have an awareness of your company, but they also are proven that they will engage on LinkedIn. And you've also generated quite a bit of goodwill because you've been nurturing those leads for some time. Now, I know what you're thinking when you move on to organic LinkedIn, you put your post out, it may travel far and wide, it may not, but it's really hard to be sure that the right people in the right accounts are seeing those posts. I think the first thing to get right is what you're posting about, and marketing can help with this. It's about saying, making sure that who you're connecting with aligns with what you're posting about. So, as much as when you're posting, you want it to be from a personal perspective and absolutely get that personality into the post because that will make people engage with it. If you can also be repeating the themes and making sure that value proposition is coming through in association with those posts, then that's first step is the posting and connecting needs to align. But how can you be sure that you're getting the posts in front of the right people? Now, here's the trick, and it's kind of obvious when you say it, but this was yesterday. Jenny's post came up very top of my feed. And why did Jenny's post come up top of my feed? If I clicked on reactions and I had a look at those reactions, those top 5 people there are my first degree connections. And if you think back to our approach of cross connecting, you can make that happen. So, say that colleague one is the one who's posting and they're connected to your decision maker. So, you've got colleague one there on the left hand side, you've got your decision maker on the right hand side. When colleague one posts, colleague two, who is also now connected to the decision maker, likes that post. That means that not only has a first degree connection posted, but another first degree connection has liked it. But say colleagues 3, 4, and 5 are also connected to that decision maker, then you've got that approach that I had with Jenny at the top of my feed. If that decision maker comes onto LinkedIn on the day that colleague one has posted, you're going to get that post in the top of their feed. Do this at scale across all of the profiles. It doesn't matter what day you come on to LinkedIn, you're going to see a post from one of those colleagues. And it takes the simple act of liking or reposting your colleague's post. A little bit of a algorithm hack, I would say, but it's all using best practice. You've been nurturing those leads over time, and now you've got connected to the colleagues. So we're coming up to the last minute. I promised you a 15-minute value add session, and it would be amiss for me to not talk about the ROI and how you're really going to measure that you're on the right track for success. If you're used to spending money on LinkedIn and you've got your LinkedIn ad spend, you could be looking at how many impressions have I had of these posts and what would that value be in terms of ad spend? I would say that one, you probably don't want to stop doing that ad spend because that's going to increase the effectiveness. But two, isn't it more valuable that a personal post with a personal perspective from a subject matter expert is seen? Isn't that more trusted and people are more likely to engage rather than a promoted post? So I wouldn't necessarily look at the ROI as a direct replacement, but it is an interesting way to measure or justify the cost. You can also be looking at each post individually. There is a demographic report on each post, which gives you the top companies who have viewed the posts. Now, it only gives you the top one, so you don't see the long tail, which is a bit of a shame, but you start getting a really good sense of the long tail when you look at every single post that you've ever published and that your colleagues have published, and you start combining that data. It actually gets really interesting when you also look at your collective connections and you see a correlation between the companies that are most connected to your colleagues and the companies that are viewing your posts and viewing your profiles the most. And that sort of reporting really shows that organically your profile-based marketing approach is working. Of course, because there is that real life connection to salespeople, because we're talking about relationship building here, you can also be connecting it to revenue. Imagine that you're in a situation where Jim has posted his post and he's a senior salesperson. He's been going into the inbox and saying, "Hey, I liked your post," or "Thanks for liking my post," for a period of time. And then the SDR gets connected to the same person, the decision maker. And the SDR says, "Oh, I see that you're also connected to Jim. How about I organize that you guys have a chat?" You've then opened up a real world conversation. We've been able to increase the effectiveness of the SDR. So you might want to look at the SDR's ratios to open up opportunities and then add in the profile-based marketing strategy and how that increases. You also might want to be looking at pipeline value because you've got the multi-stakeholder connections here, and also multi-profile. You would be able to help with the pipeline velocity. So perhaps your CTO that's connected to your CTO can help nudge the deal along. So they're really useful ways that you can justify the ROI on a profile-based marketing campaign. And actually, hopefully with some of the steps that we've talked about today, it's something that you could try and navigate and set up in-house with the resources you already have in place, Sales Navigator and your wonderful colleagues. So that's it from me today. That's the steps into how to do a profile-based marketing campaign as part of your ABM. As I mentioned, the first step is to see which of your colleagues are PBM ready. So one of the things that we can do at Pitch One-to-One is we could do a profile audit with your colleagues. We can let you know who has a good profile that's ready to go for your ABM campaign and where there might be gaps with other colleagues, what their networks look like and their posting activity as well. So if you'd like a profile audit, please do get in touch with me. LinkedIn is obviously a great place, or via the Pitch One-to-One website. And thank you so much for your attention today. I hope that you found that quite useful. Any questions, just pop them in the comments. I'm going to come back into the comments later. Thanks and bye for now.